Travel to India door to door takes around 28 hours. When I can make it work, since I'm already on the other side of the world, I like to take a quick weekend trip to explore the diversity of India. This trip, I went to visit the wild, wild west of India, Rajasthan.
We left Bangalore at 6 a.m. on a SpiceJet flight to Jaipur. SpiceJet is one of the many domestic airlines that have sprung up, serving the interior of India with short flights connecting major cities and tourist destinations. The flight to Jaipur reduces the trip from days by train to hours by plane. Jaipur is the capital of the state of Rajasthan, and like most cities in India, the streets are full of pedestrians and traffic, and the noise of beeping horns is constant. The first place we headed was outside Jaipur to the magnificent Amber Palace. The palace sits on top of a hill, and the road winds up to the gates of the fortified, abandoned city.
So women see every person's face, but every person can't see for the woman face. It's like cover the face.
We hired a guide to lead us through the city, and he had a pattern of speaking where the verbs and subjects were reversed. The Amber City is famous for its art and architecture. Full of beautiful gardens and plazas. Verandas are covered with famous Jaipur lattice carved from marble. As we walked the narrow alleys, you could almost feel the ancient history. The ride back to Jaipur was like driving through time. Beggars, elephants, and horses. Back in Jaipur, we went to a heritage hotel, the house of former royalty, to freshen up and rest before the next leg of our journey. That evening, we headed to the Jaipur train station to catch a midnight train to Jaisalmer. Our train ride was to be 12 hours through the night.
At the previous station,
we waited for the train to arrive on the platform with the rest of humanity. Finding your specific car is always a bit stressful, since the cars never seem to be in any particular order and you're rushing to find your specified berth. Our seats were in an air-conditioned car with a 4-bunk sleeper berth. Exhausted from jet lag, we quickly fell asleep as the train gently rocked us back and forth. The next morning, I woke early and hung out the door of the train as I watched the desert world pass by and the sun rose on the day. Jaisalmer is at the end of the rail line in western India and is about 50 miles from the border of Pakistan. Occasionally, the train would stop at out-of-the-way stations. Sometimes for just a couple of minutes, and sometimes long enough to hop off and stretch your legs and grab some milk tea and food. The further west we rode, the sparser the cities and the more desert the landscape. Eventually, we arrived at our station in Jaisalmer and disembarked. Jaisalmer is the end of the train line and is only 50 miles from the border of Pakistan. We stopped at another hotel to freshen up. Jaisalmer was an important stop on the ancient Silk Road between east and west, and for hundreds of years the city boundaries were the same as the golden fort that sits on the hill. We drove a few blocks up the hill to the fort entrance, where a guide led us through the city. This fort had ancient Jain temples, but unlike the Amber Fort, the Golden City was still occupied. Large crenellated walls of the old city now look down across the new city that is expanded beyond the fort walls. First floors of homes double as storefronts, selling crafts and tourist knickknacks. We stopped to buy a couple of turbans for the desert, and it was entertaining to watch Rahul barter with the shop owners over a fair price. With frequent touching on the shoulders and threats to walk away, eventually they agreed upon a price.
Down the side, the system is alive. A river running dry.
Next, we headed out of the city, west for about 30 miles into the Thar Desert to our camp. Our tents were the definition of glamping. King-size beds, swamp coolers, and bathrooms with a toilet, tiled floors, and a shower. The camp was set in the desert without anything directly around and next to a set of large sand dunes. That evening, we took a camel ride into the desert. Camels have a funky set of folded legs. Okay.
Hold tight and lean back.
Hold tight and lean back. Okay.
And when they stand up, you really need to lean back to keep from getting tipped off.
Okay, we're up.
And then, after they've stood up, you're a long way off the ground. Good. We rode lazily out to the dunes, the camels loping along with a gentle rocking lilt. We disembarked as the camels kneeled. Then we climbed the dunes to sit and watch the sunset into the haze on the horizon. In the late dusk, we slowly rode our camels back to camp. Arriving at camp, we sat outside as a local band of very talented musicians and dancers entertained us. After a comfortable night's sleep, Ruhul and I awoke with the sky still dark to watch the sunrise. The desert was magical in the morning as the sun rose on the day. Back at camp, we enjoyed a delicious breakfast before getting ready to return home. I loved the wild western reaches of Rajasthan, with its beautiful architecture, scenery, and people. A great trip that I will never forget.